All right, we're coming through the closing parts of today, and we want to create an opportunity for all of you to connect with one another, to do a little bit of crowdsourcing based on the opportunities, the learning, the insights, and the opportunities that we have as an ecosystem. And so if you turn to page 36 in your workbook, you're going to see a whole list of resources, and these aren't meant to be all of them. You've had conversations with other people today in this room. You've seen other things like what we just saw with the Effective Leadership Academy. Lots of great things happening in the Cleveland ETA ecosystem. But if you look at that, many of these are in your workbook, the Promise Partners ETA Accelerator. I'll talk a little bit later about how you can learn more about that. The ETA 2025 event, right? We're here today celebrating what happens in the community. October 29th, mark your calendars for the ETA event in 2025. Of course, we have the ETA MBA and certificate here at Case Western Reserve University. We have the course, the 3-day deep dive that Reed talked about a little bit earlier. There's a NAMES ETA-focused changemakers cohort. I'll talk about that in a little bit. We have the City of Cleveland Economic Development. We have Ohio Employee Ownership Center. We have Manufacturing Works, right? Growth and Transition Leadership Institute. A bunch of resources that, should you complete that survey, you'll get access to all of those through the presentations here today. We also have the amazing sponsors. We have the advisors and experts in the room. As I mentioned before, if you've got a green badge, you've also got a white badge because you're likely supporting one another. As you think about all those amazing resources, what I encourage you to do is turn to the next page, page 37. And I want to ask you two short questions. And to keep us on track today, one of the things I'm always committed to is to make sure that we end on time. I respect your time. I thank you for giving this community your time today. And so I'm going to ask you to reflect for about 30, 60 seconds, and then I'm going to give you some instructions as to the conversations we're going to have to close out the session today. So the first question I want you to think about, it's really simple. What are some things that I am committed to after this session today? I'm committed to explore further, or I'm committed to support. Right? I'm committed to explore further, and some things I'm committed to support. That's the first question I'd love for you to reflect on. Maybe it's a presentation you saw. Maybe it's a person you want to connect with. Maybe it's one of those resources on the previous page. What's something you're committed to explore and or support? And if you're a super enthusiastic person, you can answer both. The second question I'd love for you to think about is this. What is something, I take the S off there, what is something, one thing that you'd love to see happen in this ETA ecosystem? Something that maybe we haven't thought about, a new idea, something that was sparked or emerged for you through your conversations today. One thing that you'd love to see. And as you think about that one thing that you'd love to see, this would be something you'd be willing to support as well. Okay, take 60 to 90 seconds right now. Answer those two questions for me. Something I'm willing to explore or support, and a new idea that I have for this ETA ecosystem. Mark, can you cue up some journaling music for 90 seconds or so? Two questions. Something I am committed to explore further or support. Second question, one thing, one idea that I have that I'd love to see to further the impact of this ecosystem. Another 20 seconds or so. All right, thank you, Mark. You've all been sitting for a while. I'm going to give you an opportunity to get up out of your seats once again. And here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask that you, number one, if you're sitting at a table, you get up and move from that table. And number two, I'm going to ask you to try to self-organize so that you're in groups of 3 with a white, a green, and the other color is blue, right? White, green, and blue in your group. It's not going to work perfectly, but really encourage you to get into groups of 3, white, green, and blue, and share your answers to those 2 questions. The last thing I'm going to ask you to do is nominate someone from your group to share the things you're committed to as a result of your conversations. 10 minutes. Have fun, everyone. All right, everyone, if you can make your way back to your seats, that would be amazing. Your way back to your seats, we'll close this out. I think Lauren's just helping us encourage people from outside the doors there to come back in as well. It's getting thinner, yeah. Everybody's enjoying some refreshments out there. All right, everybody, we'll get started back up. Just before we get some shares into the larger room, I'm going to call attention to a couple opportunities for each and every one of you. And this is a really good reason for those folks to come inside from out in the hall. If you turn to page 46 in your workbooks really quickly, a few people have come up asking about Promise Partners and the opportunity. How do you learn more about that? Page 46, there is a ton of information about Promise Partners. There's a QR code there where you can apply to be a part of that. You'll go through an interview process to learn more about it and to see if it's a fit for you. It talks about when the next cohort will be and what that interview process looks like. If you go to the inside of the back cover, there's a couple other things there. Scott pulled up before a QR code around how do you get access to all those resources that we talked about. If you scan that QR code and complete the survey, which I would encourage you all, do that right now so that you don't forget. What happens when you complete that literally 2-minute survey is you will get an email with a link to over 100 ETA resources, the full event replay, all of the slides that you saw from the presenters today, and the other people that are in the room, right? You don't want to miss that opportunity to have access to the replay, the resources, and the slide decks from the workshops this morning. Down at the bottom, you heard Reed talk about the ETA course, January 10th to 12th. If you want to learn more about that course, there is 2 different Zoom webinars you can join to learn about those. You scan each QR code to register. You would the one that works best for you. Really encourage you. I had 21 people last year. I know it'll be amazing again this year. And the final thing I'll share with you on the back cover of the workbook, we were asked to put together a specific ETA cohort for those that are interested in learning how to apply the AIMS practices in unlocking engagement, inspiring action, accelerating business results. We've got a special price for anybody who joins. Instead of the $4,000 regular investment, it's $2,500 if you act before November 7th. And if you want to know more about that program, we have a workshop. It says Friday on there. It's actually Thursday, November 7th at 2 p.m. You can schedule to add that to your calendar that way. If you're ready to go and you're ready to dive in, if you're part of that workshop this morning, there's a QR code there. Once we fill up, we will fill up. Once we fill up, we won't allow any more spots. We really try to create a personalized program for you with coaching as we go through it. You will implement a real change with your team in your organization as you go through that, learning the practices, which requires us to kind of teach those practices as we go. Amazing opportunity. That will start up in January as well. All right. Raise your hand if you completed the survey. All right. I'm pausing, delaying here so you have more time to complete the survey. Like I said, take a minute, do that now so that you get access to all those amazing resources. Otherwise, you might forget. To close us out, I can't think of a better way than to pull in your voices, your shares, your conversations that you just had, things that you're committed to support, things that you're committed to explore, and things that you'd love to see. And hopefully, you nominated someone from each of your groups, but I'd love to hear from 3, 4, maybe 5 of you. And it could be any one of those things, things you're excited about exploring, things you're likely to support, or things you'd love to see. We'll be capturing each of those things as we go. Do we have a hand up back here already?
I thought we were going to share.
Yes, we're ready. Let's do it.
All right. Hi, my name is Sydney. Y'all just saw me present. But one of the things that I really appreciate about ETA, besides just the actual experience, is just like the coaching and familiarizing ourselves with the ways to pitch a company, especially in terms of like acquiring it. So one of the things that I really would like to see us do in the future is actually to kind of partner students with companies to try and act out ETA in a more real-world arena. So maybe, having our teams, instead of trying to do like a pitch competition, but also just having them work with the company during the semester to see what it will be like to actually get some real-life acquisition experience.
Love that. Awesome. Thank you very much, and I love the energy, enthusiasm in going first. Let's hear from 2, 3, maybe 4 of you. Things you're looking forward to supporting, things you're going to explore, or things you'd love to see.
So, my name is Nicholas. Personally, to explore, I'd love to explore just ETA in general. First time hearing about it and seeing what this is all about. Fantastic program, great symposium. And something I would love to see would be in the booklet, by chance, to have basically a glossary of business terms. When you get new people such as myself, and you hear a bunch of lingo, acronyms, at first you're like, what does all this mean? But it's easy for business people and business-minded people to see it, understand it, but that'd be something I would like to see, just a little glossary. But thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Great idea. How about a couple more shares? Yeah, we can give that a round of applause. But a couple more shares. Maybe it's an idea you heard from someone else that you'd really think others would be excited about. Or I'll close it with this. Anyone else in here that you met today that you just want to acknowledge or appreciate? Love to hear from a couple more folks. Yeah.
Something we've talked about that we haven't made a lot of progress on is a safe format to share deal flow in the sense that there's just lots of deals that everybody sees that they're not going to do something with, including us. And so, wonderful if we could figure out a platform to do that.
I love that. It's a great idea. We heard that from the first workshop. Give a round of applause for that one. Really, as we think about that one, we got a couple more shares here. As we think about that one, think about the opportunities that get passed by and companies don't survive, right? How do we make sure that that doesn't happen because people are at stake? I think we had a hand up over here.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, I'm Michelle Kuhn. We had a couple of folks say this too, but I think in terms of some other things that we could do maybe next year would be to get the seller perspective. So whether that's at a table with someone who's sold a business before, or just kind of understanding from their perspective how the due diligence process works and really the whole deal process. So thank you.
Awesome, love it. Let's hear it for that. I think, did you have your hand up, Reed? Yeah, I go first. Okay, over here first.
The importance of culture in the firm you acquire wasn't really touched on at all. And as somebody who's done an acquisition and found out after the fact that the seller was an asshole, and I wish I had found that out in advance because I wouldn't have done the acquisition, but that really needs to, because ultimately the numbers tell you one thing, but if it's not a culture fit, it's going to blow up.
I love that. I'm writing down how to deal with assholes. All kidding aside, super important. I agree 100%. A round of applause for that one. And Reed, did you have your hand up?
What I would add is what I really want to see next year is a couple more people close deals that attended this conference, so we have some more ETA practitioners and owners out there. So that's what I want to see for next year.
Beautiful. I love that. I think that's a great note to end on. That's what we're here for, right? We're here to create more opportunities. And I heard a comment earlier today. I think it was Andrew who said it, and I wrote it down as he was saying it. And I'd love to say that and then leave you with one other comment that's already in your workbook. We all have the power to write our own stories, right? We have the power to acquire that business, to take action over the coming year to do that. And when we think about that, we have the power to write our own story. When we do that, we aren't just writing our story, we're writing everybody's story in here, because that's what this ecosystem is all about. If you look just beside the survey, see how I did that? I pointed out the survey again. I'm going to leave you with this comment. It says, "Thank you for attending," and it's a quote by Richard himself. "I wish you the best of everything, including success that lasts. Dance like nobody's watching." Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you next year.